Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and this will be a rant Japanese journal video. So if you're new to my channel, I highly suggest that you go back and watch my first video, or at least listen for this part of it. I guess I'll just explain it. Basically, this is where I talk to you about things that are going on in my personal life, or I rant to you about something that's, annoying to me, or that I have strong feelings towards, or talk about, just anything relating to Japan or myself. I live here in Japan. I am an American. I've been here for nearly 10 years. But back on subject. As this title kind of already explains a little bit, this video is going to be about an article that I actually read, and I got so frustrated because I make videos and I make blog posts talking about dating here in Japan. I am currently dating here in Japan myself. I have been engaged twice, and I've had other opportunities where I could have gotten married in addition to that. So I know what it's like to be on both sides of things, to be inside of a real relationship, to be dealing with an F-boy, to be dating somebody that's not interested in me, like just everything that you can think of. I've been there, done that. So this is not to say that I know everything, or that because something has happened to me or hasn't, that it cannot or won't happen to you type thing, if you get what I mean. I'm just sharing my own experience. But with that said, I think there are some things that can be said across the board when it comes to dating. And what I want to say is, people know what they want and what they don't want. And when people want things, they act a certain way, versus when they don't want things, they act a different way. So this article that I read, it says that it was new, that it just came out, the day that I read it, so 2 days ago now, but I'm pretty sure it's a fake question, because that exact question had been asked before from the same company. I'm not going to, I'm not trying to bash the writer or anything like that. I'm just keeping it real. I'm 99% sure that I read the exact same article years ago with the exact same question, maybe just slightly phrased a little bit differently. But basically, somebody wrote into this website, and they were claiming that they had been dating this it was a white woman, I'm assuming, a foreign woman. I don't know what she was. I'm gonna assume she was a white girl, because most foreign women here are. So, and based off of her name too that they gave her, I think. But anyway, long story short, foreign woman. We don't know what she is. She claimed that she had a JLPTN1 certification, which is irrelevant, but for the sake of this article, it was mentioned because I guess she decided to say that to her to validate why she doesn't believe it's a language barrier issue with the relationship. She says she'd been dating this man for 6 years, and he has never brought up the idea of getting married, never proposed to her. And when she brings up the thought or idea of getting married and talks about how she wants to get married, he seems to get upset, pushes away from it, shies away from the topic, and seems irritable and becomes less affectionate, more withdrawn from her. And so she basically felt conflicted, like, I don't know what to do. Like, obviously this girl wants to get married, but I've been with this man for 6 years and he doesn't want me. And I wasn't so much mad at, I'm going to keep it honest, be blunt, I wasn't so much mad at the girl's stupidity, naivety for asking such a dumb question, because I get stupid questions like this all the time. And I know it sounds so harsh, but hear me out. I've been an idiot just like how you're being right now if you're thinking something like that. So I got mad because the person that owns the website, whoever was replying to it, I felt their response was not helpful at all. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't bash the girl, but I don't like that. I'll use gaslighting for lack of a better term. I don't like they didn't call a spade and call it what it was. He was bullshitting her. He was pulling her along and wasting her time. And this is, oh my God, I have so many videos I want to make just off of that topic idea alone. Literally have a list of things that I want to talk about. This is going to be a long video. First starts, men are not stupid. As I said at the beginning of my video, if a man likes you, I've said this on my channel countless times, he will put in the work, effort, time, money to secure you as his girlfriend. If a man wants to marry you, he knows within, I would say, 1 year. And honestly, he knows within a few months. A man does not need 5, 10, 15, 20 years to decide, maybe I want to be your husband. This is why this whole dating culture thing is beyond stupid. I'm not saying it in the way that you're thinking. I mean in the sense that dating is dumb. It did not used to exist. It used to be where you found somebody that wasn't married, you liked the person, you wanted a family with them, You all courted for a second and you got married. Now we got relationships lasting 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years. No ring in sight. And y'all doing everything that a wife should be doing. And even for men, everything a husband should be doing. And the thing that makes me angriest is, in all of these situations where the woman wants to get married, she's playing wifey for that man. This girl probably buying him gifts, cooking food, sucking that nigga dick, riding him, all type of shit that she may or may not have even wanted to do. Take those things away from that man and watch how quickly he will leave the relationship. You are literally being a wife with no commitment. And that's fine, I guess, for short term. We've all done it. I've had sex before countless times. People that I wasn't married to. Duh. My whole channel talks about that. However, 6 years with one person? This is why it's so important to talk to your partner. And you don't push it off. Bring it up early. If you know you want to get married as a woman, you need to let him know that immediately upon dating. You don't wait until the 3rd date, 5th date, 10th date. No. They need to know, this is my intention in dating. It's unfortunate that we have to say what should already be understood and common sense, but it's not. Because unfortunately, sorry guys, I got a little something in my eye. There are tons of guys who are just using dating apps for the purpose of casually having sex and hooking up. And it's really funny because these dudes get so triggered and angry when women use it for their advantage. And they're like, okay, if guys are going to use these apps for hooking up and playing girls, I'm going to use it to get free meals and free gifts, bags, whatever. And guys don't like that. They want it to be where they get something out of it. In their mind, it's like, well, that only benefits you. Sex only benefits you. Do I get an orgasm? No. When we go out to eat, do both of us get fed? Yes, the fuck we do. When we go shopping, you can buy yourself a gift too. I ain't stopping you. Do you see now you see how that goes, right? Y'all ain't cool with that. It's okay for guys to get what they want out of it. But if girls get something and you don't get anything, or you have a fair playing ground, then it's upsetting. But we're not going to talk about the dating app aspect, because that's going to be for another video. I want to stay on topic with this. What type of circle do you have around you where they're letting you date a man for 6 years and you're living together? Oh my God, you are doing everything wrong. Nothing wrong with living together or dating somebody, but I'm sorry, there is a cap of 3 years as an adult. If you are 20 or over, you should not be dating anybody for more than 3 years without marriage not only being on the table, but plans to get married. If your man not only won't bring up the topic of marriage for you, but on top of that, when you talk about it, he gets upset. He withdraws, act like he don't want to be bothered. Girl, run! Your relationship already over. He's using you. I'm sorry you had to find out nearly 10 years later, and I'm sorry that the article, the company you wrote into are bullshitting and gaslighting you and pretending like this is normal and, well, you don't have to get married. You don't have to put a label on it where you, like they were asking us stupid questions, like rhetorical questions, or not really rhetorical, but you know what I mean, like, well, were you happy and satisfied in your relationship prior to that? What were things like? Bitch, I don't care if that man was giving you everything under the sun. There are celebrities that do that shit right now. Got girls that, I hate to use this example, but a good example of this is Nipsey. I went there. Got a girl you got multiple babies with, dating them for several years, but they are not good enough to make your wife. I don't care what your excuse is. I'm good enough for you to fuck. I'm good enough for you to eat food from. I'm good enough for you to sleep with, to hold hands with, to go out with. Reproducing, and this is crazy too, because I hear this a lot within the black community. I don't know about white people. Maybe I got these issues too. I'm sorry. How is having a baby a lesser commitment than getting married? Because the dumb excuse that I hear people say is like, oh, I'm not ready for marriage yet. I don't want to get married because then everything Bitch, y'all got a whole baby together. Hello? You can make kids together, but you can't sign a marital license? What? And now in this case, they don't have children to my understanding. But that's the other issue. As a woman, your time is limited on several different levels. For starts, you are going to be seen as less desirable and less attractive by men upon reaching 30. And it goes down from there. I don't make the rules, I play by them. 2, forget about attracting men sexually. The ability to have children deplenishes at 30. And on top of that, forget about, the plenches, you know what I mean. You don't have the opportunity to have kids as easily. It's significantly harder. There are girls that are just 30, 31 years old, barely in their 30s, already need IVF. Having to spend years paying thousands of dollars to conceive, and not naturally. It's embarrassing, painful, and invasive. It's not private like how you would want it to be. Nobody says, I want to get IVF. Nobody says, I want to freeze my eggs. That's not normal and natural thinking. This world has you thinking that way. Not to mention, a lot of girls want to have more than just 1 or 2 babies. And with that said, you can't have a big family and you can't space things out when you have your kids that late. I'm almost 30 years old, and I'll be the first to tell you I wish I had children earlier on in life. I still don't have babies. I'm still not married. But I'm not going to lie and give bad advice because I don't have something and pretend like this is a good thing. Stop listening to people that are miserable and bitter and people that don't have shit. So they say, oh, travel, work, do whatever. Oh, I'm glad I don't have it. Yeah, sure you are. You're going to be the same bitch crying on YouTube when you're 35 years old, paying $30,000 every few months for IVF. So anyway, we ain't talking about that part of it. But what I'm saying is, like, don't let a guy waste your time. Just as you are going into a relationship knowing you want to get married, he's going into the relationship knowing that he wants somebody to play wifey, a companion, but doesn't want marriage. And really, my anger is on the guy for not telling you what he wanted. Because you really shouldn't even have to announce. It should be understood. The purpose of being in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and moving in together even is because you have a serious relationship. And it's supposed to naturally lead to that. Nowadays, everything's become so PC and liberal and this, that, and the other that now wanting to get married is taboo. So now I have to announce to you, hey, I know that we can, just fuck each other until we die, but I'd like for you to sign this certificate to make it official. Now that's a big deal. It should be a big deal to move in together or waste 6 years of your life with someone. And I feel so bad for the fact that you even felt the need to write in to someone to ask this, because that means that you don't have people that are close to you and your relationship with your partner isn't even close enough where you can express this because they completely shut down. Tell that man that you ain't gonna have sex with him and you're not gonna cook dinner anymore, and watch how quickly he'll be ready to move out and get a new girlfriend. But you're putting up with a man that when you talk to him about your future together, he walks away from the table, pulls back from cuddling. That's something that you need to ask help for. And so my goal is not to bash the girl per se, but I mean, hey, sometimes you need some tough love to wake you up. I have been stupid like that. I have literally shared in live streams, videos, posts about me doing dumb stuff for men that were not my boyfriend. I talked about thinking I was in a relationship and then finding out that the guy was like, well, I thought that you were okay with, just having sex and talking. I didn't think we needed a label for it type stuff. I've been there, done that. This is not to say I'm better than you or anything like that. I'm speaking from experience, and I'm angry when I see people that are older than me or, older than I was when I was doing that stuff that don't know any better because nobody's ever taught them. And many of them lack dating experience. Japan is not some taboo foreign land where men literally function in a different language. Love is universal. No matter what country you go to, men make sacrifices for women that they love. And when men are in love, they want to get married. No man is going to date you for 6-10 years and not think about marrying you. In fact, he has thought about marrying you. He decided not to. That was your answer. He's not retarded. Excuse my language. It crossed his mind and he decided, I don't want to. Why buy the cow when the milk is free and forget about that? You might not even be worth it to him. You might be thinking, why would I want to marry you when I don't have to go through any divorce, no legal complications, I could just cheat on you on the side, I have you to come home to and for my dick suck, I'm having trouble getting another girl, your stability. I've literally dated and been friends with people that function like that. You don't want somebody that's that trash. Move on. And the thing that sucks is, I know from personal experience, it is hard when you've been dating someone for a long time to pack up your bags and move on because you've spent so much time with them, being their girlfriend, playing wife. It feels lonely. It's hard getting used to sleeping alone. It's hard getting used to going out and working full time again, or whatever the case was for you. It's hard to start over. And you feel angry because now you're not 20 years old anymore. Now you're 26. Now you're not, 25 anymore. Now you're 31, whatever the case is. You have wasted 6 years of your life with a man that is never going to commit to you. And now if he does commit to you, it's because he feels like you forced him to. So you're not going to get a real husband out of that. And then people like to use these extreme scenarios where it's like, I dated my husband for 5 years or 10 years. Bitch, he played you for 5 years or 10 years because that means he didn't really want to marry you. Nobody gonna date Rihanna or Beyonce for no 5 and 10 years, but I don't really want to get married and I have to think about it later. I need time. Or push themselves away from them. They know immediately either I'm just in here to smash and pass or I'm out the door. Okay, let me clarify because I know that some of you are going to be really technical with me. Yes, I am aware. I think Beyonce and JayZ actually dated for much longer than that, or at least for a hefty or long period of time, whatever you want to call it. Long story short, you get what I'm trying to say. Plus, keep in mind that somebody actually getting married and having the conversation of marriage and planning when they are going to get married, we won't ever know when her and JayZ started discussing that because we can only go based off of what we have seen and what she's willing to share. And if I recall, she's never gone into detail about when they decided that they wanted to get married. And even then, we're only going to hear whatever her and her PR team wants us to believe. But you get what I'm trying to say. When a man has a woman that he really wants, he's going to make it known what his intentions are for you. I personally am not for relationships that go past the 3-year mark, but fine. I can give you a slight pass if your man has a legitimate reason for why he doesn't want to get married before that, and if his actions and words match that. Sorry, but a man saying that he needs to date you, to make it to the 5-year mark or to the 3-year mark just because he needs to, fill out your personality, etc. That's bullshit. Sorry, excuse my notifications. That's literally him making up an excuse to try to see, is there any reason why I shouldn't marry her? And don't get me wrong, I understand that. But the dumb part about this waiting game is you're not going to find out anything new about somebody no matter how many years you wait. Because it can literally be the year after you get married, they turn into a shit show. So whether you wait 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, they can wait until the 15th or 20th year before you find out real problems. Because the reality is, having children, needing to change jobs, deaths in the family, anything like that can literally completely change your partner's ability or willingness to work, have sex, the way that their body looks, them getting out of shape. Anything can happen over time. So you can give all the excuses under the sun. The same thing goes for money. Why can't you get married and continue to work and go to school and make money, etc. too? These are all garbage excuses that millennials and Gen Z has started having. So don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about girls that don't want to get married. I'm talking about the ones that do. And I honestly believe in my heart, a lot of women are lying to themselves saying, I don't want to have kids and I don't want to get married because they're echoing what other women have told them to say. They're literally repeating what other people have told them, just like men who've decided they don't want to get married by using the examples of other bitter men that had bad divorces saying, oh man, don't marry her. She gonna take half of everything when she divorce you. It's the same type of scenario with these girls pretending, sorry, notification, let me turn this off. With these girls pretending like they have no interest and they never want to get married. They never want to have kids. But then it's like, okay, but you're acting like you're his wife. So you're literally giving this man a best of both worlds. Sure, you all might both be working and contributing to the bills, but you're also saving him money because he has another person paying half of it. And like I said, the reality is, in most cases, even if you do split things 50-50 with your man, it really ends up not becoming 50-50 because the reality is, both of you are making separate salaries, and sexually, men simply struggle to satisfy women the same way that a woman can satisfy a man. And don't even get me started on cheating and babies outside of the relationship. We ain't even going to get into that part of it. But all I got to say is, if a man really knows that he wants you, he will have his mind made up within a few dates. He knows what his intentions are. He might not be ready to pop the question after date number 3. But he's not going to be thinking, I don't want to think about marriage right now. If your man is saying that, he's not mature. That just means he doesn't want you. Because when the right girl comes along, he's not going to let her go. He's not going to say, don't talk to me about marriage. He's not going to say, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this conversation. Likewise, you wouldn't say that as a woman. That's the equivalent to a girl saying, I don't know. I mean, maybe, let's start off as friends. Is she going to say, let's start off as friends when she's talking to Chris Hemsworth or Chris Brown? No, the fuck she won't. Her panties going to be around her ankles, waving them in the air at you, if anything. She's not going to need time to think about it. She knows that she wants them. Why? They're rich, they're handsome, they're tall, they're muscular, they're famous. Okay, in your circumstance, as the woman, if your man, I don't care how cute you are, if your man is unsure about you, you need to leave. Why would you want to be with somebody that's unsure about you? Why would you want to be with a man who won't even allow you to express your feelings, to say what you want, what you need? Why would you want to be with a man that's making up excuses? I mean, come on, 6 years? Even if you didn't want to get married at the start? 6 years? Are you an idiot? I'm sorry, I gotta say this. I'm not trying to be condescending, but I can't help it. You waited almost a decade before you decided, hey, maybe I should figure out why he won't marry me. Y'all have been watching too many Disney fairy tales. Some guys do need a little bit of a push, but after you hint to him that you want to get married, which I'm sure you've already done a million times within a relationship, that's it. That's your big red flag to dip. That is your sign. Anything else you do, you are now forcing a marriage and relationship that will not work. And I think I've already said this before inside of another video, but let me just give you a refresher. I was friends with a guy who was married to a half Italian, half Italian and some other type of Asian girl or whatever. And with that said, she was a pretty girl. Not the best looking thing, but not ugly. He was young, married her young. Want to know why he did it? Because she needed a visa in order to stay in Japan. She didn't have a degree. She didn't want to go to university for whatever reason or couldn't afford it. I don't know what the case was. To this day, that man has been serial cheating on her. I literally just had to cut contact with him. Awful person. These are the type of people that you end up inside of a relationship with when you try to force somebody to marry you. And of course, it takes two people. He chose to marry her. But this is the point. When men marry you because you have to ask them about marriage, you're literally getting with somebody that's trying to have the best of both worlds. He really likes you and doesn't want to lose you, but he also wants his freedom and to be able to have sex and date other people. And some of you are going to pretend like you don't care about this stuff. And that just shows low self-esteem. You're lying to yourself and pretending like you don't care about being cheated on. You don't care about being lied to. Okay, go ahead, do your own thing. My point is this. In your circumstance, your man won't even marry you. Damn, 6 years? I'm sorry. I would have turned into Ted Bundy or something. I would be done. I'm out. I'm out. And your friends, family, and that blog is utter trash. Absolute trash. For them gaslighting and making it seem like, oh, well, think about it. Were you happy before this conversation came up? Were there any What? Are you not recognizing that the problem is I got into a relationship like how normal relationships are supposed to function, thinking, okay, you like me, I like you. Not only were you willing to be my boyfriend, you also moved in with me. I wouldn't think you need to ask, hey, is marriage on the table? That should just be self-explanatory common sense. And more than likely, this girl's man ain't no fucking millionaire or something. He's probably some average-ass, short old Tato-looking guy. He don't want you. This is so sad. And I feel even worse because I see a lot of girls here that have much lower self-esteem, whether it be because they're overweight, etc. And there's so many videos I can make on this topic, but I also want to touch on something else. I feel like a lot of foreign women here don't really understand how to properly rank themselves. There's people here, that are obese, people here that are biracial, etc. And they think that they look a lot better than they really do because they're mixed race. And they're just so confused. Why doesn't anybody like me? Or people that, are obese and they have, dating profile pictures of themselves, not showing what they really look like. And like, how come nobody wants to go on a second date with me? And then you have situations like this, and it's like, look at how your relationship started. Have you all ever even been on a legitimate date? I'm not just talking about Yakiniku. Like, don't try to just copy off of me. How much money does he spend on you? And I'm not saying this to be into the gold digger round, but it'll teach you a lot. If your man is taking you out for $20, $15, $10 meals, he's probably taking out the girl he really likes for the $60, $70, $80 meal like me. I haven't been on a $20 date in a hot minute. You have to think about what your relationship is even based around. Because y'all might have been together for 6 years, but is that 6-year relationship more like a friends with benefits type thing? Because if your man won't even talk to you about it, it sounds like he's just using you to suck his dick and make onigiri for him and shit. Because that does not sound right. Crazy. Anyway, my point is this. I use Beyonce as an example because she's a woman that is seen as very beautiful amongst most people. I think she's very beautiful. Anybody saying she's not is a fucking liar. Okay, with that said, regardless how long she dated, they're celebrities. Okay, but you get my point. Even if Beyonce dated for 20 years before getting married, she's fucking rich. And more than likely that discussion was already on the table. They decided these things. You, on the other hand, you probably don't look as good as she does, and you are probably also not as rich as she is. And with that said, you need a man that wants to marry you on his own. It shouldn't be you bringing it up. And if you do have to bring it up, which I think that's okay to do too, it shouldn't be where you're begging him and explaining why he has to marry you, or why you need to get married, or why you really want. When your conversation gets to that point, he's already told you that he don't want you. Now you're just begging and embarrassing yourself. It's like a sympathy relationship. Like you agreeing to be somebody's boyfriend because he's crying and telling you how he wants to end his life and it's his birthday and he's never had a girlfriend. Basically like talking to an incel in reverse. Okay, now you're the one being the incel essentially. I get it. You're like, oh, he's my boyfriend. We've been living together. Yes, but he didn't really want you. You are literally just free, easy access. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but it's the truth. I've gone on talking for more than 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and get back into the video. I just had to say that. Basically, if you are as pretty as somebody like Beyonce, a man is not going to need time to think about it. He knows. Does he want to go on date number 2 and 3? Does he want to spend 1, 2, 3 years with you? Or does he just, want to have you casually around the side, basically? Because if he's keeping you for 5, 10 years and then decides to marry you, I promise you, I don't care what he says. I don't care if he says, I want to graduate first, I need money. No. What he's really trying to say is, while I'm waiting to graduate, I want to see if any other better options come around. And if nothing else comes around, then after I graduate, because I wanted to be married by then, fine, I'll choose you. But let Beyonce come up in that picture before he reaches to that 5-year mark. He gonna break up with you, marry her, and if anything, if you're lucky, you might be the side chick for them. That's what's gonna happen. Don't let no man play you like that. He knows if he wants you or if he does not. Simple as that. And for men that are watching this, don't let a girl friend zone you. If you're in the friend zone, stay there. Do not try to get out of it, because you don't want a girl that's changing her mind about you because you've persuaded her, manipulated her, offered money, offered sex, whatever you had to do to try to get this girl, ride inside your Porsche car. You don't want a girl like that. Likewise, ladies, you don't want a man like that. Let men be the pursuer. Quit trying to chase men and do their job. As a straight woman, I'm telling you this. I'm not going to get into the whole LGBT thing because I'm a straight woman. This is talking about another straight woman. I'm giving advice based off of Japan. Let's go ahead and get back into the video. It's the same for you. You don't have to be that level of celebrity, but you should be to your man. If he really loves you, he knows. That means they're pulling your leg and playing you. I need to think about it. I need time. I'm not ready. It will never be the perfect time to get married. No matter how broke or how rich you are, you will never have enough. You will always be missing something, need more. If your man won't even talk to you about it, that's a huge red flag. I ain't saying he gotta buy you no huge engagement ring and have a fairy tale wedding, although shoot, you should get that too. But the fact that you can't even speak about it and that angers him, that's because the communication's effed up. Y'all been together for 6 years and y'all can't even talk about that? What? And it sounds like you're afraid of him. And do you hear yourself? You're telling on yourself. You already know that these are red flags. Move on. If you're fine with playing side hoe, you're fine with having so little self-worth and value that you're okay with somebody directly disrespecting you and not only refusing to truly pick you by making you his wife and giving you his last name, but by someone that says, I don't even want to talk to you about it, hoe. Just sit back, cook me meals, and suck my dick. That's what you basically just let this nigga tell you. You okay with that? What? And I was glad that even though the article was shitty, nearly every comment was saying exactly what I was saying on the article. Wasted your time, basically. And men know. It's not just me telling you this. It is not normal for you to be dating for more than 3 years, honestly. And it definitely is not normal to be dating for 5 or 10 years. I don't care if it ends in marriage. Look at the time you let him take from you. You should be angry. How dare you make me wait 5 or 10 years? That's half a decade or a decade or more. If you're in a relationship for 10 years, whether you were 20 or 30, either you lost your fertile years, your best years, so to speak, your early 20s to late 20s, or if you're in your 30s, welcome to the world of IVF. Welcome to the world of never getting to see your great-grandchildren. You're limiting your time with your kids, your energy with them, everything else. Why would you want to be rushed like that? Or even have the chance of having these problems? And forget about the ability to conceive. You have a higher chance of having a child with, all these different mental health issues, physical disabilities. The list goes on. Birth defects from having a child when you were 35 or older. Needing to be on bed rest. It sounds crazy to think of because 30 is not old. But it is not the way we are designed as human beings. God did not design us to be giving birth and having babies in our mid and late 30s. I'm not saying it ain't possible and it can't happen. My parents had me in their 30s, but I was also their last baby, not their first. And forget about that. Now that this man has wasted 5 or 10 years of your life, if he decides not to marry you, now look what? You're going back out into the dating market, older, with no children, which that's kind of a good thing. Fine, you don't have kids, but when I say with no children, I mean if you wanted kids, now you're risking not being able to. So now what does that make happen? Now you become desperate because you're like, oh my God, I want a baby, I need to get married, and you start freaking out. I kind of relate to that right now. I'm not saying this to make myself better than you. I'm saying it because I see myself in you. And it's like, oh my God, you're doing the exact same dumb shit that I did because nobody corrected and taught me. And the girls around me are even older than I am. I'm literally working with girls that are like 35, 40 years old. And they've traveled all around Asia, been to Europe. And it's like, what do you have to show for it? You have no family. You have no man. You work in a crappy ass, low paying job. All you got is pictures showing your vacation in Thailand. That's fun. I mean, I'm not talking about the unicorn girls that don't want to get married, don't want babies. I'm talking about us that do. And this girl does. So that's why we're talking about it this way. I don't care about y'all. I don't want kids anyway. Well, that's good for you, bitch. I'm talking about those of us that do. The majority of women want to have children, want to get married. This girl, I don't know if she wants kids or not, but she wants to get married. And she wanted to marry that man. And it's crazy how men will see it as you misleading them. When it was them who should have been telling you what they wanted. In his mind, he's like, why is this bitch talking about marriage all of a sudden? And that's the other thing, too, that nobody wants to talk about. People have inside their mind this fairy tale idea of men proposing to them and surprising them with the idea of getting married. But what they don't know is a lot of these girls that have gotten married and pretend like it was a huge surprise, they told their man, hey, I want to get married. And so he was like, okay. Went around, went ring shopping together, and that's how everything happened. It wasn't some huge surprise that they weren't expecting. So for a lot of you guys, you think, okay, all I have to do is be a good girlfriend, play wifey for him, and eventually he's going to surprise me and propose. So you sit around waiting every Christmas, every birthday, every New Year, every Valentine's Day, every, anniversary for you guys, relationship starting. You're thinking he's going to propose to you, and he never does it. And then finally, when you think, maybe I should try to hint a little bit harder, because just, trying on rings together and going to the jewelry store isn't enough. Maybe I should hint, I really want to get married. And then you've waited too long. Now you've wasted a year plus of your life. And all you did is scare him away. Because he's like, this bitch done lost her mind. Why the fuck would I marry you? We've been dating for a whole year and fucking each other. What's the purpose in that shit? I don't even want to mention that to a man. You want to know why? If I'm not going to give you like an ultimatum, like either you marry me or I'm gone, you already don't really love me if I have to even explain that to you. That should be the start of the relationship. At the very beginning of your relationship, it should be made known. Either we are dating for the purpose of getting married or I'm gone. You don't give this ultimatum a year into the relationship, 6 months into it. No. They need to already be on your page. Because after that, now if they do marry you, they're probably going to be cheating on you or not want to have sex, not want to have kids. You need to talk and open up your mouth. Japanese people do this too. I literally have dated people, in fact, just a few months ago, where literally at the start of the relationship, they let me know they wanted to marry me. They wanted to secure me. They wanted to live together. They wanted children. I didn't have to say shit. He let me know I want XYZ. I was so used to being the one to be secretly thinking, oh my God, I want to marry this guy, making sim families and shit. I'm keeping it real. I thought that was normal, but it's not. You should both be on the same page. You are not a horrible person for wanting to get married. But I have to be honest, he is a horrible person for not wanting to. Because if you want a short-term relationship, something that's not serious, you never want to get married, you don't want monogamy, you need to be the one to say that. I should not have to ask you. You as the woman should not have to ask him. And as a man, same thing goes for you. If you're dating a woman that's doing it to you, yeah, same goes for you. I'm a straight woman, so I'm speaking from my own perspective. And this girl was a woman too, so I'm speaking from her perspective as well as a woman. You should not have to say, hey, I want to have a serious relationship that leads to marriage. If your partner is telling you, I don't care about your feelings, because that's what they're basically saying to you, we're not going to talk about this, run. Because a partner that does not allow you to vent and express yourself, that does not allow you to say what you want or need, that gets angry and frustrated when you express that, it always turns into shit. You don't want a husband like that. You don't want your child's father to be like that. And see it as a major red flag being here in Japan. Because here, child kidnappings are legal if it's by a guardian. That means your husband can decide to get up, grab your babies, and run off, and they never have to give them back. Likewise, your wife can do the same thing. Why would you want to create a family with a guy who already is telling you, I'm not willing to negotiate, I'm not willing to talk, if something makes me uncomfortable, I'm just going to ignore it. And it made me so mad seeing the advice of the article, because people are saying stuff like, and even her, like, oh, like, maybe he saw a friend that had a bad breakup and he doesn't want to think about marriage right now. Maybe he got laid off from work. Every excuse under the sun than to call it what it is. A F-boy. A player. What? Since when do you look at your friend's relationship as inspiration for what you're going to do? If you knew that you didn't want to get married because of what you saw with your friend, then break up with the girl. Don't waste her time then. You know you don't want to get married because you don't have a good job? Then tell her that from the start. Look, I'm looking for a casual relationship. Friends with benefits. I don't plan to get married anytime soon. Maybe I might change her mind later. Let her know. Because from there, if she decides to be a dumb bitch and says, okay, well, I'm going to wait around and hope that you change your mind in 3 years because you said maybe. Let her do that. I was that dumb hoe. I wasted 3 years of my life too. I'm speaking from personal experience. Let her do that. Now you can't get mad at the guy because he told you. But in this case, assuming based off of what she said, he didn't say that. It's your fault for assuming technically, but why should you not assume that? That's the purpose in a relationship. That'd be the equivalent of saying, I didn't cheat on you. This is a poly relationship. But it's like, I didn't consent to being in a poly relationship with you. It was just supposed to be me and you. Well, you didn't say that, did you? I didn't say it was just you, did I? No. See, you see I'm talking about? That's reverse psychology. You're playing mind games now. It is immediately understood that when you are dating somebody, you are dating them with the intention of being serious with them, monogamous with them, and hopefully getting married to them should things work out. Your biggest mistake that I will blame you is you should not have made it to the 1 year mark without these questions being asked for certain and a deep discussion being had. It is not enough to say, oh, I want to get married someday or maybe in the future when I get... No. Those are all excuses. He's buying time. If a man really wants to marry you, he will do it. He will tell you. You will not have to beg him. And he will never get angry at you and leave the table. He will not use his friend's relationship or his job as an excuse for why he cannot. If a man needs 5 or 10 years to pick you, that means you are his plan B, C, D, E, F, G. He's waiting to see if there's something better that comes along. That is not something to be proud of, to say, oh, we dated for 5 years. My parents dated for 10 years. Yep. And one, if not both of them, are checking out their other options during that time. Because what the fuck you need 5, 10 years for? You learned everything you need to know about a person within 1 year. And honestly, I would say 5 to 6 months is more than enough time to decide. I don't know why people think that it's normal to waste that much of your life for not even to have any sort of time frame, no commitment. Do you see how dumb that is? I'm supposed to date you for 5 or 10 years and wait until you're done with your whole phase as a man when you finally get tired of sleeping around. And then if I'm lucky, then maybe you might choose to marry me. I actually read a comment like that on this blog post. Somebody had commented saying that they basically were an F-boy up until they were in their mid-20s, and that they were just sleeping around, that they had broken up with a girl. They would break up with girls, and they would like ask them about getting married or moving in together, things like that, that would end their relationship. And I'm like, do you not realize how evil and selfish that is? If you know that you're on bullshit, why didn't you tell these girls when you first met them? Right, exactly. See, men don't see it as an F-boy game when they're doing it. They only see it as an F-boy game when girls do it. So from his perspective, it's okay to mislead girls by not telling them what he's really looking for, and instead saying, hey, I want to be your boyfriend. And then waiting for the girl to get attached, and then hearing her talk about her crazy ideas of how she wants to get married, and how she wants to have children, how she wants to move in together, and then it's like, I don't want all that shit, bitch, and then you back out of it and leave her. Now, at least in this case, you left the girl. But still, it's like, okay, like, you added to her body count, you wasted her time, she like you gave you gifts, money, bought you food, etc., for birthdays, holidays, etc., because she thought, since you're my boyfriend, we're going to eventually get married as long as I continue playing my role as a good woman, good girlfriend to you. But nope, little did she know, she needed to ask you, hey, and I know I'm your girlfriend, but what kind of girlfriend? Is this a short-term thing? Or are you looking for, something that leads to marriage? Now, you can't even say short-term or long-term. You see, a lot of guys, they want long-term girls, just not a wife. It used to be where it was understood. Long-term relationship means you are looking for a partner that leads to being a wife, but not anymore. And sure, he snapped out of it and decided to settle down and get married. But what it really sounds like is he realized, it's getting tiresome having to constantly talk to new girls, meet new women, explore different bodies. I want to finally settle down. After I'm done wasting, hurting, trashing, damaging, scarring all of these different women, now I'm ready to settle down. That is awful. And the sad thing is, that's how most men live. Most men do that. Is it everybody? Nope. But if a man is even a little bit tall, a little bit handsome, that's what he does. Why have one girl when I can have 5, 10, whatever? And they're only okay with it when men do it. Because if you do it as a woman, then it's problematic. And you're a whore, you're a gold digger, you're a bad person. How dare you use men for free meals, experiences, drives, and cars? You're awful. But then you have no problem with men risking pregnancies, STDs, adding to body counts, breaking girls' hearts. That's totally fine. But nothing wrong with that. Interesting. So yeah, all I gotta say is, do not let somebody play you and waste your time. Ask right up front what they are looking for. Tell them up front. Don't ask them what they're looking for, because they might say, oh, I'm looking for a girlfriend, whatever, or I'm looking for a wife, even if they say the wife part. Tell them what you are looking for and what you want. And ladies, do not have sex. I am literally working on this right now. My patrons know. Don't do it. You will know when it's the right person and when it's the right time. But never, ever, 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 ever go into the relationship willingly to have sex. Do not do it after a first date. And do not do it with somebody that has put in zero effort for your date. Cafe dates don't get pussy. Izakaya dates don't get pussy. Meeting at your house for Netflix and chill don't get pussy. Don't get kissing, don't get holding hands. Men need to work for that stuff. I'm not your wife, so I'm not going to act like it. Show me your intentions first. After you show me that you're serious about me, then I bake you food. I cook dinner for you. Oral sex is now on the table. Sex is on the table. We can do couple stuff. Somebody just saying, oh, I want to marry you. Don't listen to words. Listen and watch actions. Anybody can say, I want to be your boyfriend. Anybody can say, I want to marry you. What is he doing? A lot of you ignore red flags because you're so focused on how much money this man makes, how handsome this man is, And you're ignoring obvious signs that you're being cheated on and lied to because you want to look good to the public. You want to take pictures together. You want a channel of you and your, interracial relationship, whatever. And I understand it. But it's like, are you really happy, or are you trying to appear to be happy to make money and to make other people envious of you? Does he really want to marry you, or does he just want to have sex with you as a long-term option? Because see, a lot of guys like keeping girls in their phone. A lot of guys are keeping girls around as somebody to come home to. But marrying you? And don't be fooled, marriage isn't the be-all, end-all thing either. I told you guys, I had a friend that was like that. Married to an Italian girl. She suspected that he had cheated, and he had done it before, and he got caught, and she knew about it, and she got angry. But she stupidly continued to trust him, and that's her choice. He continued to cheat on her. She got married young, he's my age. People ignore stuff because they are in love. Because they want to believe things are perfect. They've invested so much time and money in their relationship, they cannot handle the thought of it not being genuine. They don't know what to do. They're like, oh my God, the thought of my partner being unfaithful to me, the thought of them not just loving me, the thought of them not wanting to be with me forever. I would rather stay around and be able to say, that's my boyfriend, because hey, at least he claims me as his girlfriend, than to leave that jerk for a better partner that treats me well. A lot of people are so focused on looks, they don't care about how they're being treated. And I'm sorry, I can even speak from personal experience. I had to learn the hard way. I don't even care so much about looks anymore. Sure, I want a man that looks good, but I will sacrifice a man that's handsome for a man that treats me well. I will sacrifice a super tall guy for a man that actually has a career and has his stuff together financially. A lot of your priorities are wrong. You're not asking the questions that you should ask. And you're not telling them what you want. Don't be shy. If you're dating somebody that's controlling you and not allowing you to ask questions, not allowing you to say what you want, what you're looking for, run. Because if you can't even bring up the topic of getting married, what's going to happen when you have more problems in the future with your relationship? If your partner is making up excuses telling you, oh, well, I don't have the finances, or my job, or my family member died, or no. They don't want you. A man is not going to turn down a good woman because he doesn't have the best job ever, or because his best friend got a divorce, or because I don't even care if your mother died. You might not want to get married tomorrow, but that's not going to be an excuse for us not getting married for 6 years. What? And I didn't like the fact that the person that wrote the article, they were trying to be balanced. They're being like, well, maybe they didn't because whatever, and like trying to have you like look inside to see if you're the problem because you don't understand his circumstances. No, you're not understanding his circumstances because you want to get married to that man, and you don't want to believe that you wasted your time and money on him thinking you were going to get married. But you did nothing wrong. The only wrong thing you did was assuming that he would change. Making up excuses for him is stupid. You can have your reasons for not wanting to get married, but the reality is, if that man came across a woman that he really didn't want to lose and really wanted to, have a family with, he would change his mind. Men will change for a woman they want and love. I have experienced that. In fact, my ex-fiance is a prime example of it. He admitted to being more of a player when he was younger. It got old as he approached his 30s. He no longer cared for that type of stuff anymore. He probably did treat people like trash prior to meeting me. But he loved me and he wanted to marry me. So what happened when he met me? He treated me like I was his wife. He moved me into his place. He drove me around everywhere. He paid for all of my needs. He paid my bills. He paid for my visa. He did everything for me. I didn't even have to ask. When we went shopping, the purse I still use to this day, I didn't have to beg him for a handbag. He told me, you need a new bag. I haven't bought you anything yet. I asked him what his limit was. There wasn't one. Pick something nice that you like. He didn't even want me to see him pay for it. He wanted me to pick out some makeup while he was buying that. Do you see the difference? You all over here begging men, oh, well, I'll pay half of the tab, or I'll wait and see if you change. Don't do that. That is my biggest regret as an adult. Again, I'm not saying this to bash you. I'm saying this to talk about myself. My biggest regret as an adult to this day is being a stupid 20 to 23-year-old trying to convince and beg men why they should want me. I've shown you why you should want me. You can choose not to. Everybody has their own taste and wants their own type of person. But you are not going to waste my time. I ain't nobody's plan B. Either you choose me or you lose me. And I don't need to explain that to you. It's already said. I tell you what I want and you decide you're not going to meet that. You don't care about honoring my wishes. You don't care about my feelings. You're not going to listen to me. You're not trying to please me. I'm out the door. Don't let nobody play you like that. It's not a culture difference. It has nothing to do with them being Japanese. They do the exact same shit. And you want to know what? If he was talking to a Japanese girl that was really attractive, that he really liked, she wouldn't have to ask him. He'd be asking her, when can they get married? Jinbei, prime example of that. Patrons know who I'm talking about. I wasn't the best person to that man, but we had our issues. I'll just leave it at that. I didn't have to ask him about marriage. He brought it up to me. I didn't have to ask him about moving in. He brought it up to me. Meeting his friends and family, he wanted me to do that. I didn't have to say anything about that. You're wasting your time. You don't need to tell these men what you want, what you need, what you like. They know. And their refusal to try to satisfy you shows they don't want you. So you can be dumb and force them to marry you by waiting around till he's old and it's like, I guess I'll finally settle down. I'm probably still gonna cheat on you, but I'll settle down, I guess, and I'll marry you. And if it makes you feel that good to have his last name, be able to wave your little spouse visa in everybody's face, then so be it. But if you really want to be genuinely happy, have a stable household with stable income and a good sex life, you don't want a guy like that. He's selfish. And just keep in mind, he would never let you do what he's doing to you. You could never do that to him. Easiest way for you to tell if somebody's playing you or not. Consider what they're doing to you. And think to yourself, or even try it out. Would they let you do that to them? Could you tell him, I don't want to talk about sex right now. I'm not in the mood. I don't want to have sex with him. And just, pull back from him or whatever. Watch how quick he'll move on. But here you are. You're making up excuses. You're wasting your time typing and writing into this journalism, whatever type crap. And I think it's really sad. Because even the place that you're writing to, they're not even genuinely trying to help you. They're busy trying to play PC politics like, well, maybe you're being insensitive. Maybe he's going through a hard time right now. Bitch, you had 6 years. I don't care if your mama just died of cancer. Your best friend just got a divorce. On the same day. Please explain the prior 6 years of us not getting married. What do other people's relationships or the death of someone, death is natural, normal, happens all the time, have to do with you getting married? How does that make you, if anything, that should be encouragement to get married? Because now you want to start your own family. So, I'm done with this. Made almost an hour video. All I gotta say is, that is so dumb. Don't date somebody for more than 6 months without marriage being on the table. Do not go past the 3rd date without saying that you want to get married and want to have a family. Don't ask them exactly what they want. Tell them what you want. You need to know what they want too, so yes, you do need to ask, but don't be so focused on what they want. Tell them what you want and see what their reaction is to what you want. And if they are not on the same page as you, tell them and politely end it. And move on for someone that does want that. Because the time that you're wasting trying to bribe them and sell yourself to them can be used getting to know your real future husband. You've already wasted 6 years. You could be done and waste another 5 or 6. Or you can get smart and say, you know what? I deserve better. I'm worth more, and move on. I really hope you choose the latter option and move on. You've already wasted 6 years. You can't get it back. I wasted 3. And in total, I wasted about 7 years of my life. I can't get it back. And it's fine. I learned a lesson. I can now make videos and money off of my lessons that I've learned by helping other people. Life goes on. But that doesn't mean I have to sit and stay in a bad relationship. Because I'm like, well, I already wasted 3 years, so I guess another 12 won't kill me. You're trying to get your money's worth out of the relationship at this point. Because now you're like, well, I've already used this much time, invested this much money, this much whatever, so I might as well stay, is what you're basically doing. That's toxic. You deserve more. You're worth more. Do not let somebody treat you like that. It's trash. So, I'm done with this video. Please feel free to chime in and give me your own 2 cents. I roughly paraphrase this. This is not what the article said exactly, but in a nutshell, this woman had dated this guy for 6 years. He was Japanese. She believed that because her language ability was high, that, everything was understood between the two of them. And it's like, well, you clearly don't understand culture while you might know language. I didn't feel like the article was really giving her a clear answer. They told her the options she could do, and they did mention she could leave the relationship. But they really kind of left it where they weren't saying that the guy was bad in any way, shape, or form. They were basically saying, like, well, look, like, your ultimatum is either get him to talk to you or leave. And it's like, that's not really answering the question. Tell her the truth. You were dating an F-boy. He led you on. He misled you. He played you and used you. Because even if, let's say that they never had the conversation about what you're looking for in a relationship, it should be understood that if you know you don't want to get married, you should be immediately saying that to a woman. Think about it with the job. Your job does not have to ask you if you plan to work past your first paycheck, do they? No. It's assumed that if you work for the company, you're going to stay at least until the duration of your contract. Okay. It's the same situation. If she knew they were never going to get married, she probably would have never had sex, probably would have never dated him, probably would have never moved in together, probably would have never done all the stuff she's done for that man. And the fact that he has the audacity to be passive aggressive with her when she should be the one that's outright angry and mad for wasting her time and her body and money and resources on a man that doesn't even really value her. And your response is, well, maybe there was something going on in his life. I'm done. Anyway, give me your 2 cents in the comments. What do you think? Do you think it's justifiable to date a man for 6 years or longer, even without having a legitimate commitment and a real relationship, as in being married or engaged? Or do you think that it's worth it to wait 5-10 years if it results in getting married? So, to also explain that, my point is, even for the relationships that do work out and they do last and they have 30, 50 plus, whatever, well, not 50 years, but you know what I mean. That's possible too, though, technically. Yeah, having 30, 40 year marriages or whatever, things like that. I get it, it can happen. My point is, those are exceptions and not the rule. And there's so much risk involved. Because now that you've wasted 10 years, let's say that you get to year 11, and they decide, you know what, I don't want to go through this engagement, let's break it off here. I want to go with someone else. You are now at least 30 years old, if not 40 plus. And this man just decided he don't want to marry you. That's enough to make a, bitch, pull out that gun and some lives. You know what I'm talking about? That's how crazy people, get out there and do their thing. Because I'm sorry. Just think about that. You are 30 years old, you get to a relationship. Or not even 30. Let's make it more reasonable. We're going to use my age. I am 26 years old. If I were to date a man for 10 years, that would put me at 36 going on 37. I would be damned if you tell my crusty 36-year-old ass, no baby, no marriage have himself, I don't want to marry you anymore. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do if it were to be 5 years. Because now I waited on you. I'm out of my 20s now. Look at how much you hurt me. And men don't have that same problem. Because when they leave, yeah, sure, they're going to die earlier than us, etc. But it's actually arguably easier for them to date. As long as they got money. Which most men do have at least a stable career. You ain't got to be filthy rich. That's what I mean by money. Most women like men that are older than them. Also wanted to add once again, I believe I said this on a live stream, but it's not just my own opinion. It's actually factual. It's statistical. When men actually get a divorce or leave a relationship, and in this case, fine, there's no divorce going on. They're just boyfriend, girlfriend, but been dating for a long time. But I'm using divorce. This is a more extreme example. Even in a divorce with children, men are not affected as much as women are. When women divorce a man, whoever divorces, when a couple divorces, The majority of women fall into poverty. A very large portion of them do. And even for the ones that don't, the likelihood of them getting remarried is significantly smaller than it is for a man. And then even for the women that do remarry, they actually have a higher chance of getting divorced from their second marriage than their first one. So go figure. Think about that. So this is not just me talking and telling you what I think because I'm a woman. I'm just saying it's significantly easier for men. And even without kids and without a divorce. As a woman, when you get older, it's harder to find a man that wants to marry you. Because men typically like girls that are in their 20s. And then on top of that, the other situation that you have is, again, if you want to have children, which most women do want to have kids. And that's oftentimes used as an excuse for why a man wants a younger woman. And then normally men that like older women, they like them for two reasons. One, they like them because they don't want to have kids themselves. And they know that the older woman cannot reproduce children and will not ask them for them. And two, oftentimes they have a ton of baggage themselves. So they're willing to settle, so to speak, for whatever they can get. That's what you normally find happen. 30s are not old, don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about, for having your first kid and getting married for the first time. Once you get to be, close to 40, pushing around that age, most men, they're not looking for someone your age. I don't say it to be sexist or misogynist or anything like that. Like I said before, I don't make the rules. I'm playing by them and I'm telling you how it goes. Any man will tell you this himself. Some men don't care about age, but they would be the exception, not the rule. Just like how some girls don't care about a man's height, but they would be the exception, not the rule. Also, some women don't care about a man's money, and it's the same situation. They're the exception and not the rule. Most women want a tall man. Most women will preferably want a man that is at least financially stable, which that does not mean rich. Just a man that can provide and, handle his business. That's that. And 30 is not old for a man in any sense. It's the perfect age for a lot of women, being in your 30s. You completely ruined my chances of getting another partner. Whereas for you, if anything, things are better for you. You probably got raises and promotions. You're seen as more mature. You wasted 5-6 years of my life. And you got what you want out of it because you were the one who decided to end it. Do you see what I'm saying? How much of a gamble and risk that is? And then imagine if this happens twice. You're wasting 10, 15, 20 years now. Whereas if you only choose to date somebody for anywhere from 6 months to a year, you know how many relationships you could have within that time span? This is why it's so important. Short relationships, get to the point where you're talking. Do not date somebody that's like, I don't know, I'm unsure, I gotta think about it. The only think about it you should be having is, are we gonna have a summer or winter wedding? We are not thinking about the idea of getting married. If you gotta think about it with me, that means you don't want me, and that's cool. I'm gonna go for somebody else that does. I gave the same example about dating, with choosing a location to date at. If I am not worth you taking a risk at spending $20, $40, $50 for a meal, that's cool, I understand it. But just as you are not sure, there's like 10 other guys for the same day that would love to take me out for $70 yakiniku, and I'm gonna go with them. I literally have a date planned on Sunday for the most expensive yakiniku restaurant I have ever been to. It is over $100 per person. I didn't even ask for him to take me. In fact, he sent me a whole list of expensive restaurants to go to because he asked me what my favorite food was and said that he wanted to find a new, better restaurant than my favorite food. There you have it. I gave up no pussy. I ain't kissed this dude. I ain't hold his hand. Nothing. My apartment, it got paid for by a guy that I was dating. How? I didn't do any of that shit. I let him know what I wanted. He told me what he wanted. He saw I needed money to pay the move-in fee. He paid the move-in fee for me. I didn't have to beg him down to fuck him or anything else. And y'all might say, oh, that's a simp, that's whatever. No, it's called a man that has money. He values you. If you see that your woman is in need of something and you have the means to help her, why would you not? As a woman, when I date men, the men that I've been in serious relationships with, none of them can ever tell you that I didn't treat them. I always take them out for their birthday. I buy them Christmas gifts. I buy them Valentine's Day gifts. I cook for them after work. I take them out for dessert. I do a lot of other stuff too. We ain't gonna talk about that part of it. And with that said, I pay them back too. It's a mutual thing. But the problem is, oftentimes, you as the woman, to be safe, because that's the way the society is, you need to wait for the man to show you what your value is to him. Keep in mind, your value to him. Not your value on this earth or for yourself. Your value to him first. Because if you play sugar mama first, you get burned. I learned that firsthand, and I made a whole YouTube video talking about that. Do not do that. You need to wait. See how he treats you, how he talks to you, what he buys for you, and act accordingly. These men have more money than you, better jobs than you, more connections than you have. That $20, $40 funky dollar meal that you think is so expensive because, oh my God, took me out for yakiniku. Bitch, that food costs $30. That ain't expensive. You're impressed by that. You're happy that you're getting a free meal. For him, he's like, I'm not spending a lot of money. This is great. Because now this bitch gonna, give me head afterwards because we had a good ass meal. And it's a win-win for them too, because they get to eat as well. And on top of it, they get to go to a restaurant they would otherwise feel gay or insecure eating at. For example, in Japan, men don't like to go out to eat dessert by themselves, but they'll do it with a girlfriend. It's seen as feminine. Men also don't like to go out to places like yakiniku by themselves. It's seen as embarrassing, odd, fat, whatever. It's nice to have a lady with you, especially a pretty foreign woman. So, do whatever you want to. People have their own opinions, etc. All I gotta say is if a man wants you, he will let you know. Do not waste years of your life. Tell people up front, I want to get married. Ask them up front what they want. And don't just say you want to get married. Give them a time frame. Say, I want to get married soon. I want to get married and have children soon. Within the next 2-3 years. Tell them what you want. And after you say that, ask them, what are you looking for? What do you want? And to be honest, I prefer to do it the other way around. I like to ask them what they're looking for, what they want first before they ask me. So that this way I'm getting a genuine answer from you before I tell you my answer. And don't drop your guard because he says that he wants to get married, because unfortunately men will lie about this. They will say whatever it takes to get into your pants. So instead, don't have sex immediately. Get to know him first. Talk to him first, and then decide when you think is the best time. Go based off how he treats you, how he talks to you, what he spends on you. Then you decide, is this man really serious or not? Then you can take that gamble and risk and choose to do that. But don't do it a moment before then, because you will end up getting played. I've had men give me whole lying ass story of how they want to get married with my boyfriend, go to Disney, this, that, and the other. And then of course, what do? You have sex with them? They out the door. Gone. Bye. Sorry. Waste your time. So, give me your 2 cents. Tell me what you think in the comments below. In a nutshell, do you think it's worth it to date somebody for 6 years plus without having a, not boyfriend-girlfriend commitment, because they were boyfriend-girlfriend, but without getting married and without marriage being on the table? Now, to take it a step further, like I said, I don't even think it's worth it for marriage to be on the table. You need to already be married by the time you get to year 5. I'm sorry. As an adult. This is not high school and junior high school relationships. We're talking about grown folk. Babies are on the table. Your ability to get out to the market and date is on the table. Your ability to see your grandchildren, everything else. You're wasting valuable time and energy that you can have with your babies. Why would you want to do that? So, yeah, let me know your 2 cents down below. This is my opinion. I want to hear yours. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, a comment down below. It would also help my channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can check out my other videos. I have random journals and rants, typically about things dealing with Japan or my association with America. I am an American. You can check out my playlist on my YouTube channel's homepage. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Snapchat and TikTok at Comic the Savior. I have a Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior and a blog at Comic95.com. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video.